Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. In today's video, we discuss the franchise and the Big Apple, the New York Knicks, who have seemed to have some growing pains this season, with a lot of the fingers blaming their all-star big man, Karl-Anthony Towns, who's currently averaging 20, 12, and 3, new head coach Mike Brown, and other possible factors. Now, the Knicks, who just came off of a comeback win against the Rockets at home, have now jumped the Cavs for the third seed in the East. But with multiple struggles this season and an 0-3 record against the Detroit Pistons, whom they faced last year in the playoffs, and on top of that, the Cavs' new addition of James Harden, the Celtics' surprising dominance despite being without Jason Tatum, who was not ruled out making an early return to make another NBA Finals, and other teams in the East that could give the Knicks a run for their money, it's time to talk about if the Knicks can finally get over the hump and make the finals under head coach Mike Brown, who was a part of the Warriors coaching staff from 2016 to 2022, winning 3 NBA championships. But before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't, turn on those notifications to stay tuned for more content, and comment if you think the Knicks can finally make the finals this year. Now, fellas, what do you think has been the Knicks' biggest problems this year? And do you think the Knicks can overcome the Pistons and other East teams to make the finals this year?
As the late, great Dennis Green stated, the Knicks are who we thought they were. They're who we thought they were. You guys have been watching this season. You guys have been watching how they've been getting their asses handed to them by the Detroit Pistons. The New York Knicks are who we thought they were. And the Detroit Pistons and all these other great teams have not let them off the hook. It just took an L to the Cleveland Cavaliers as well, who is a team that I'm not that high upon. But even them recently acquiring James Harden gave the New York Knicks problems. In my opinion, it's time to talk about this franchise and be really honest with what we have been seeing throughout the course of these last few seasons with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are frauds, and they're not just frauds in the way of what you can see on the film, but it's more so with the narrative and the lofty expectations that bum-ass fans like Stephen A. Smith and Spike Lee and all these other people that are showing up to the game, now that they're winning. I will admit that Spike Lee is always showing up to the games, but a lot of these guys are showing up to the games after they're winning, but they're not being honest. They don't believe in this team. They've never believed in this team. But we know how New Yorkers are. They're very arrogant. They rival on these teams. It's something going on with that area, that Atlantic area, that Northeast area. You got the Phillies of the world and the New York cities of the world. Boston. It's something going on with that area where their fans, they just feel obligated and entitled because I'm from New York. Who gives a damn? You're not good. And I'm gonna break down a few reasons of why you're not good and why their ceiling, to my perspective, even in the Eastern Conference second round. They're gonna get to the second round. I got them losing in the second round to whoever they play. And a lot of it, what we're gonna talk about, and this is really what I want to focus on, because so many people have been talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, and I've just been kind of noticing. Is Jalen Brunson becoming in terms of how we view him from a narrative perspective, is he becoming the LeBron James, Luka Doncic of the Eastern Conference? Because what it seems like to me is that it doesn't matter how any of these games go. Jalen Brunson can have 40 points or he can have 20 points on 30 shots. Nobody is ever going to assess any blame to him. And I'm going to explain and break down to you brothers why Jalen Brunson never gets held accountable for any of these losses. It's the underdog story. Second round draft pick coming up, 6'1". He's undersized. He's playing behind Luka Doncic. He leaves the Dallas Mavericks and goes to the New York Knicks and gets this contract. And he just takes the league by storm. People have allowed that narrative and that beautiful, beautiful Disney Cinderella made story. I couldn't have drafted up a better story for Jalen Brunson. People have allowed that narrative to basically put him into a category in a box that he doesn't belong in. Jalen Brunson has never won an MVP. He's never won a championship, never been to a finals, but we treat him like he's LeBron or like he's Steph. He's none of those niggas. So how come we can't hold this guy accountable and give him constructive criticism? People want to blame Karl-Anthony Towns. I got a few things to break down with Karl-Anthony Towns because I think the discourse, and it happens, it's not even just with New York, but it's just with every destination that Karl-Anthony Towns has gone to. Because Karl-Anthony Towns, he's not a great big man. He's not on the level of a Jokic or a Prime Embiid. He's not on that level. but he also is somebody that needs to have an actual point guard that can get him the ball. And I can make a legitimate argument that he's never had that. Maybe the only time that he actually had a point guard that could get him the ball was maybe Mike Conley on the back end. Like Mike Conley, we're about to roll him into the retirement home at this point. So at this point, Karl-Anthony Towns has never had stability from the point guard position. He's always played with ball dominant wing players that want to ISO that don't even know how to get him the rock in the post. When people talk about him not being able to post up, I mean, somebody has to be able to throw me the ball into the post. Niggas don't even know how to throw the ball into the post. So something that really kind of irritated and aggravated me was when in a very recent game on Inside the NBA, which those niggas, no disrespect to them, great players, historically, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I don't even think they're really watching the games. But when Shaquille O'Neal was like, oh, Cat, you got to be dominant, da 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 da. And Karl-Anthony Towns is like, I just need to do whatever I'm supposed to do to win the game. Because Karl-Anthony Towns, the stats say that when he's shooting under 14 shot attempts a game, the Knicks are actually more prolific and more productive and win more than when he's shooting over 14 attempts a game. Karl-Anthony Towns has always been a productive player, but the utilization of him, for whatever reason, teams just don't know how to utilize him. And they don't know how to utilize him because we still got to put the ball into Jalen Brunson's hands and allow him to take over and be this killer or this great shot maker late in games. Is Jalen Brunson clutch? Absolutely. But as Becky Hammond stated, he too small to be the number one option on a championship winning team. I'm sorry, he is. A guy that size, that stature, cannot be the number one option on a championship winning team or even a team that gets to the finals. We really only got two reference points of players that are under or 6'3" and under that have led a team to a championship. And one, we got Isaiah Thomas and we got Stephen Curry. To get somebody to the finals, we do got, guys like Allen Iverson, but it's very, very, very rare. And even in that mode, they had to cultivate and make everything centered around him, put defensive guys around him because they knew he was a defensive liability. The same thing is supposed to be happening with Jalen Brunson. But in my opinion, I would ask the fellas this: is that the best way and most constructive way to win a championship? I personally don't think so. I don't think that that's the best way to win a championship. So I think that what we've done is that we've inflated this narrative surrounding Jalen Brunson. We put him in a bubble that he doesn't deserve to be in. Is he a superstar? I guess by statistical production, I could say he's a superstar, but me personally, I don't think that he's a superstar. I don't really think that he's in that category. Yes, he's clutch. Yes, he's clutch, but I kind of would put him in this category of like the Damian Lillards of the world in his prime. I don't even think that he's on the level of a Dame in his prime. I don't even think that he's that prolific because Dame is, streak score, but he's one of the, best shooters with range of all time that we've ever seen. But I just don't think that Jalen Brunson, all of the grifting, the foul baiting, is getting very, very annoying. My brothers have been sending me clips of him. It's kind of Luka Doncic-esque where, and maybe, he studied under Luka Doncic, I guess, under his tutelage and figured out how to, be able to score 30 points a game. And he's initiating all the, it's like everything is an offensive foul. He's initiating all of the contact. Like I saw some dumb shit happening when they went against the Cleveland Cavaliers. James Harden literally has his hands behind his back, has not touched Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is trying to lean into James Harden to initiate contact, and he still got a free throw. So that's something that is really irritated me, and I feel like that's the reason why you got teams like the Detroit Pistons that have been they've just been kicking the New York Knicks asses all season long. Even when they don't have all of their dogs, the last game, still win by 15 points. Kid Cunningham had a beastly 40-point game on these bums. And it just takes me back to that series last year with the Detroit Pistons against the New York Knicks. And in my opinion, officiating is the reason why the Detroit Pistons did not win that series. I will acknowledge that was Cade Cunningham's first playoff series, and he did not play well. OG Anunoby, those guys, they played some really great defense on him. But the amount of calls that were going the New York Knicks way, specifically to Jalen Brunson, was one of the worst things that I've seen in recent memory from an officiating perspective. And I'm not one of these niggas that like to blame the refs all the time, but that shit was egregious. And I don't think that the refs are going to be able to save Jalen Brunson this go around. Because I don't think that they're good enough. At least we can state back then that Detroit Pistons were inexperienced. Detroit Pistons have that experience, and Detroit Pistons, they're playing with a different type of attitude, and they want to embarrass the New York Knicks because of that shit that happened last year. Like, they're making a conservative effort that we want to not only beat these guys, but we want to dominate them into submission. And they've been doing that over the course of the season. And you got fans like Stephen A. Smith that are saying, we don't want to see the Detroit Pistons. So when you got your fans that out here saying that, like, oh yeah, we can make it to the finals as long as we avoid that team, you're not a serious fucking contender, even in the Eastern Conference or the Leastern Conference. So that's all I gotta say, man. This team is fool's gold, and instead of talking about Cat, let's talk about that quote unquote superstar and actually place superstar level expectations on him because I'm getting tired of it. It's like when he has a game winner, he has a 40 ball. Then yeah, we're quick to talk about him and show him all of this love and praise. But what about those games where he's going 5 of 22 from the field or 6 of 28 from the like? What about these games where he's not efficient because he's not an efficient player? So what about these games where he's not getting to the free throw line and he's shooting terribly and he's also not one of the worst defenders in the NBA statistically? How come we're not talking about that? We're talking about Karl Anthony Towns that has to rely on niggas to get him the basketball. And when he's out here playing defense, he's also expected to rebound. He's also expected to make 3-point shots. We're going to get onto him. No. He's not the number one option. He's not the number one. Karl Anthony Towns essentially is in that Chris Bosh role. Chris Bosh with the Heat. He basically is that. But the New York Knicks, like, they don't have a Dwayne Wade. They basically have given all of the usage. Like, think about LeBron level usage and Dwayne level usage. Combine that, and that's what they've given Jalen Brunson. They've given him all of the leverage. He gets to do whatever he wants with the basketball. So that's kind of where I want to stop and just give it to my brothers, man, because I just been tired of all of the whole New York Knicks final. They're not going to the fucking finals because they're not good enough and they don't have a superstar that can lead them to the championship, even in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, this team is the first round exit if I ever seen one. Let me start off right here, and I think this is the biggest issue. This is the biggest problem with the Knicks of this year. It's the coaching, man. I'm sorry, like, and I like Mike Brown, but I don't think Mike Brown is a good fit for this roster. This roster, they need discipline. Uh, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say that, but I mean, let's keep it a being, bro. Like, when when was the last time you've seen a podcast, with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson where they actually spoke of like Mike Brown? I haven't seen it. They used to talk about Tibbs all the time, like they always had a good relationship with him. I feel like, in my opinion, this is a Tibbs team. And that's not to say that Mike Brown isn't a good coach. I think Mike Brown is a good coach. He was a coach. He was assistant coach to the Warriors teams, and he was the main coach to those those Kings teams, which had really great offenses. I don't think he gels well with this team. I think this team, they're not a I feel like they're trying to play a high pace style of offense, which they're not. Like that's not what this team is. They can't do that. They don't have an actual like a natural point guard. Like you look at their offense, it's kind of like, hey, you go 1-on-1. So Jalen Brunson have the ball top of the key. Maybe he'll dump it off to, Mikal Bridges or somebody. You go 1-on-1. That's pretty much their offense. It's pretty much their offense. So I feel like coaching is the big thing because like this team needs discipline, man. For a team with star players hopping on podcasts all the time, bro, you gotta have discipline, man. You gotta have discipline. So I feel like that's where the line has been stretched and they've been looking worse, man. They begin the shit kicked out of them, literally. Against these elite teams, and they had an issue like that last season with elite teams, and they got it fixed in the playoffs. But this season, I mean, I don't know, man. If you can just turn off like a switch like that. Now, with the thing with Karl Towns, I feel like Karl Towns might need a new change of scenery. The chemistry has just been off. Like, I don't know if y'all seen it. Like, these guys are blaming each other. I think one of the guys in the post game blamed Karl Towns or something for his effort or like his defense, something like that. Like, it's been nigh on like blaming and chemistry issues that you wouldn't expect from a team with all these Villanova guys. So I feel like that's where Karl Towns probably needs ship off from him. This whole Jalen Brunson experiment, it's not gonna win him a championship. I know it looks cool. I know he's gonna make clutch shots all the time. I mean, dog, like, he's not gonna win him a championship. Jalen Brunson, people kind of overrate his scoring. He's really not that great of a scorer. Like he's a great scorer and like he makes tough shots, but his efficiency is like average. I think it's like average. Like it's not great. Like, people, I remember people like last season, the year before, let's put him in the rim like, SGA in terms of scoring. I'm like, he's really not that. Like, he's a great scorer in the fourth quarter, but his efficiency leaves a lot to be desired. So, yeah, man. And, don't even get me started with the guys on the wings. I'm not even going to start. Let's first start off with OG Anunoby. I don't want to say he's washed, but dog, he was D'ing up Cade Cunningham the postseason, and for them to get blown out on 3 different occasions against one team, the team who they pretty much dealt with, Cade Cunningham pretty much had a bad series last year. I think he only had like 2 good games out of 6. Dog, I don't want to say you washed, man, but
I don't
man,
want to cut you
KG
off,
edits are
but
coming close.
yeah, OG was the key reason of why they won that series, in my opinion, with his defense on Cade Cunningham. Because if Cade was the Cade that we saw in the regular season last year, they would have won that series easily. But he been busting his ass this year. Like this year, he been busting OG ass. OG was been primary defender on him all season, especially in that last game that we saw in New York, and Cade gave him 40.
Yeah, so and man, it got so bad they put Jeremy Socharm on. He was getting cooked. So I mean, that in and of itself is actually crazy. Getting into like some of the bench plays, like you know, I don't want to be disrespectful. This is probably my last point, and it may be disrespectful to a lot of y'all guys. I don't care. Any team that employs Landry Shamet into the final closing lineup, like in the fourth quarter, I cannot take you seriously as an organization. I cannot take you seriously as an NBA National Basketball Association team. Um, that brother, I mean, bro, I'm just keeping it a beam, man. He should only be getting minutes in garbage time. He's a good shooter, but that's pretty much all it. Like Tibbs had him playing like this role where he's gonna play clutch defense, and it's like he like just look at him like physically, like dog. He's 6'4", he's skinny. He's not a good athlete, and don't even get me started on Josh Hart. Dude is awful. And I knew it was crazy when I was hearing Knicks fans talk in the beginning of the season. They was like, "Man, Josh Hart, we gotta get him out of there." Like they was pretty much running the Lou Dort campaign. Like if like y'all guys didn't notice, earlier on in the season, OKC fans, well, the ones I saw on Twitter, they were basically calling out Lou Dort for saying, this brother should not be even touching a starting lineup because how bad his shooting was. Mind you, he pretty much had the Magnum ball last season in the playoffs. For them to switch up that crazy in the beginning of the season, that's pretty much been, the Knicks with Josh Hart. Like Josh Hart has been god awful, and I feel like Josh Hart above all things, he's a chemistry guy. Like he thrives off of chemistry. Like he thrives off of, hey man, playoffs. Man, I'm gonna play 50 minutes, man. Play 50 minutes, and it's like, dude, come on, man. So he needs to fix his jump shot. That shit is broke. Um, their offense is terrible. Jalen Brunson's not a point guard. Um, and when he gets, when Jalen Brunson, when he thinks he has a good matchup, and he starts going into like, I'm gonna start posting them up. I'm gonna start, it's terrible. It's terrible ball. I think the Pistons got them figured out. Pistons got two elite wing defenders to actually put on him. I think Carnthony Town needs to change the scenery. I think their coaching leaves a lot to be desired. I think their wing guys need to swallow their attitudes and play better. I think this team is just terrible, man. I think they're going to be a first round exit. I'm saying that on the podcast, man. If they make the finals, so be it. But I feel like this team is hit or bust. And next season, a lot of changes are going to happen to this organization. And I feel like they need it desperately. And, I don't want to turn on none of this game. And I'm seeing Spike Lee. The NBA, I don't know who their cameraman is. They always have the camera on Spike Lee. I'm like, I'm not trying to see him in his ugly ass outfit. Like, please, I'm not trying to see it. I've seen it. I've seen it all my life. I've seen it all my life, man. So that's that.
Hey man, Nick's been so bad in recent games. They've been showing the down faces of Fat Joe, Tracy Morgan. They've been showing they defeated faces, but
Best part
I
of the
mean the
game.
Knicks,
Best part
man,
of the game, man.
it really is, man. I got a lot of laughter out of them. Especially when the Pistons, beat their ass. I mean, the cameraman, he was doing a great job. But man, the Knicks, yeah, man, a lot of this blame, it shouldn't be going to Karl Anthony Towns. And as Bardo said, Karl Anthony Towns is a big man, and he hasn't really played with, a guard that's willing to feed him. And playing with Jalen Brunson, I mean, you look at the stats and he's averaging almost 7 assists a game, but those aren't assists where he's like, pick and roll, creating shots for other guys. I mean, these are just assists like, okay, man, I ran the shot clock down. I don't really have a good shot. I'm just dumping off to somebody and they're gonna hit the shot. And I mean, that's really what that is. As Buffy said, he's not, the most efficient scorer. Yeah, albeit he's great in the fourth quarter, but he hasn't been very efficient. He's a freaking defensive liability. I mean, he's one of the worst defenders in the league. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't know if it's just because the brother took that $150 million pay cut. Nobody wants to talk bad on the man, but somebody's got to do it because all this blame shouldn't be going to Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is the first. He's the first option on the team. If Karl-Anthony Towns is camp, I'll be thinking about moving. Honestly, y'all might probably laugh at this one, but shoot, with the way the Hornets are rising, I think I might go to the Hornets if I was Karl-Anthony Towns. Honestly, LaMelo Ball, he's unselfish. But anyways, man, yeah, the Knicks, like I said, he's a cone on defense. Those wings, OG Anunoby, the brother's getting paid over 200 M's, and he's went down in scoring. He's been getting cooked on defense a lot this season. And Mikal Bridges, his numbers have went down too, and he's getting paid. Well, actually, he hasn't got a contract yet, but I hope he ain't asking for too much because his numbers have went down. Josh Hart, I mean, it's Josh Hart. What more do I got to say? And yeah, it's been interesting. With Mike Brown, it's safe to say, honestly, I can't really say that this team kind of takes him seriously. Where that started at, I'm not sure. A lot of people have speculated that it kind of happened, after that incident where Draymond Green had picked up that flagrant or tech or whatever on Cat, and then at the end of the game, he was like hugging Draymond Green and stuff like that. Then reports came out that the locker room, they really weren't messing with that. So I don't know if that's been the start of it all or if it came earlier than that. But yeah, like Buffy said, this team is definitely Tom Thibodeau coded. I think they just really love the fact that basically the starters and maybe like two other guys was just basically getting all the minutes on this team. And I mean, it's just been working for him for so long. You insert Mike Brown, and all of a sudden, we got a multitude of guys rotating off the bench. Even though everybody was saying that the workload of these starters needs to be taken away. If you're in that spot, a lot of those guys probably aren't gonna say that they just need a break. A lot of those guys are gonna enjoy the fact that they get so many minutes because I mean, it's a lot of shots they get to take. I know Jalen Brunson probably is the main person that loves that, but yeah, it's definitely some problems going on. I don't think they'll make it to the finals. I mean, they haven't done that in such a long time. Um, a first round exit, man, it wouldn't surprise me. We have a Boston Celtics video coming out. I'm not sure if the Celtics video will be out before, but in that video, I stated that it wouldn't surprise me, if the Celtics were possibly beat the Knicks in the playoffs. And man, if the Knicks face against the Pistons in the playoffs, man, they probably might get swept. Like the Pistons, I mean, they've just been hungry. They're 3-0 against them this season, and they've blown them out every time. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, the Knicks, I'm not moved by it. I hope Jalen Brunson doesn't expect to get the supermax because reports have been saying that after he comes off for this next contract, he's expecting that he gets the supermax just because he took that pay cut. But dog, I'm not paying a 32-year-old, maybe at best 6 foot guard scoring guard who plays like a two guard. That's a defense liability. I'm not paying him no supermax, bro. I don't care. He's not getting paid that. So if he wants to leave and go somewhere else, he probably might because if the Knicks are foolish enough to, pay him that money, they might as well kiss any type of finals runs goodbye because it ain't happening.
Yo, no
I mean
disrespect to
that
Jalen Brunson. It's your dumb ass fault for taking that pay cut. Why are you taking a fucking pay cut? First, like, y'all weren't gonna win no damn championship. You wanted to get all your Villanova boys on board. You gotta suck that shit up. They basically gave you all the niggas that you wanted, and you decided to take that pay cut. That's your fucking fault.
facts.
And they've done everything that he's
I know
wanted.
that.
They've literally done it. They got rid of pieces, got rid of Randall, brought in Cat, got your boy Mikal Bridges, who he was clamoring for them for. They traded all they draft capital to get him. What, 5 first round picks? They traded all that away to get your boy. And you ain't even giving him the rock.
Really even giving a rock. Shoot, if I was being honest, if I was him, I would have shipped out Josh Hart instead of Dante DiVincenzo. But yeah, man. I mean, the Knicks that they're not getting to the finals, man. It's over. Like Bardo said, I mean, it's hard to do that with a small, undersized guard, let alone one that's a scorer who needs the ball majority of the time, and he doesn't play defense. Like you know, like I was saying with Cat, they basically what the media, all these other guys, they're asking much more out of Cat, and he's just the second option. And it's crazy. I think more of the blame should go on the first option because that's usually how it is. When you're the franchise guy, you're going to get majority of the blame. But I guess that goes out the window for Jalen Brunson for whatever reason. But yeah, man, the Knicks, those finals hopes, y'all are gonna keep on dreaming. That drought is gonna continue to go on for however long. Y'all won't be sniffing the finals with Jalen Brunson at the helm. So yeah, man, Knicks fans, uh, continue to I don't know, be first round, second round at best, because that's all y'all got going.
I do want to state this because we've been talking about how Jalen Brunson, with his height, with his play style, cannot win a championship. I want to state this very, very clear, Jalen Brunson, to end off the video. Isaiah Thomas, the Hall of Famer, all-time great Isaiah Thomas, who is about 6'1", before they started winning championships and making deep playoff runs, Isaiah Thomas was a legit 20 and 10 guy, like averaging 21 points, 11 assists, 12 assists. Like he put up some big statistical seasons. Isaiah Thomas says that Chuck Daly basically took him aside and said, "Hey, brother, do you want to have a good time or do you want to win? Because with your size and with the structure of our team, you cannot do both." Isaiah Thomas sacrificed his ego and sacrificed his statistical output so that this team could win championships. If Jalen Brunson wants to win a championship, sacrifice your ego, compromise on your style of play, and be an actual point guard. Now, if you can't do that, that's another thing. But if you are as great as you say that you are and people are telling me that you are, he needs to do that. Because this team got talent offensively, even though they're not going to be the same defensive team without Tibbs. We've already established that. This team has pieces offensively if they actually had a point guard that can set up these players, like a Karl-Anthony Towns, who was a number one overall pick, who has been an all-star and has talent. Like a Mikal Bridges, that's been an all-star and has talent. Like, you should be able to make that shit shake if you actually have point guard capabilities instead of, which is citing you as a point guard in title alone because of your size. So that's all I got to say about that. We'll see how much he wants to win. I know he's not going to do that. And also that may be attributed to coaching, but it is what it is, man.
I think another issue that, we was kind of saying a little too much, and I kind of want to quote Knicks fans here because I think they're a little, they're a little more right than we are. I feel like y'all give him like Cat a little too many breaks, man. Like I feel like he's kind of part of the issue. He's part of the issue. But I feel like honestly, I feel like, man, like even if they move him, there's still gonna be chemistry issues. Like I feel like it's more so coaching. I feel like that's the bigger aspect of it. And maybe they can get another guy to kind of fill in that role as being like a five, that they need because Jalen Brunson, as we already alluded to, analytically is the worst defender in the league, and especially for a star player that we have in the league. So you got to cover up his flaws, and they've been covering up his flaws with getting guys like OG Anunoby, but that seeming like it's not enough. Josh Hart, I don't know what his purpose is on the basketball floor, because it's not shooting, it's not scoring, but he's not an elite defender. So that buddy shit that he got with Jalen Brunson, that's just gonna have to go. I mean, I'm just keeping it being, but yeah, man, first round exit. That's what it's feeling like. That's what it's feeling like for the New York Knicks this season. I'm gonna enjoy it because their fan base is terrible. Probably got the worst fans. They're probably like, I don't want to say they're as worse as like Philly fans when it comes to like the NFL, but they're damn near about close. Like they're damn near about close. You know, the Madison Square Garden fans, they're unbearable, man. I remember I went to a game, man, where they played against the Milwaukee Bucks, man. And everybody around me, man, it was like, man, it's like, damn, man, their fans are like kind of annoying. I'm sitting by myself, and I'm like, man, like, I just see why like people think this place is kind of unlikable. I don't like any of these guys. Like, I'm rooting for the away team. I was rooting for the Milwaukee Bucks. So kudos to them, man. But it's gonna be my closing statement, man. I think their season is over. It's over, man.